If you are wondering what are some best practices for getting good quality video, then stay tuned because I'm going to be sharing 7 key areas that I think will help you to stand out coming up. The first thing is to make sure that your image quality is high enough. So unless you have a reason for shooting in SD, then I would recommend shooting HD or higher, depending on what it is that you're wanting to accomplish. HD is typically fine and it doesn't take up as much space for things like hard drive space and whatever. So I would recommend personally shooting in HD. That will look good on the TV, on the computer, and on basically big screens, as well as on your phone. The second thing is to make sure you have good lighting, because actually we can put a lot of emphasis on good image being because of the camera, which it is true, but you could actually have a really great camera and poor lighting and you'd still have a poor image. So be sure to focus on lighting and making sure that you're facing the light, that you have good lighting in your environment and on you as a subject, because that will make a huge difference to the quality of your video. Another thing you want to make sure you pay attention to is your audio, because ultimately video is made up of visuals and audio, and people tolerate bad video more than they tolerate bad audio, so you really want to make sure you get good audio quality. That means not using the onboard camera mic, because that just doesn't pick up good enough audio quality, whether that's on your camera or on your computer with the webcam. You really want to use a separate microphone, and you can find a lot of different varieties. You've got the lapel mic, which clips to your shirt. You've got the shotgun microphone, which sits on the camera and looks directly at you. You've got studio microphones, which basically sit on your desk or hang from boom poles. So whatever it is that is your particular setup, you do want to make sure that you have some kind of external microphone that can pick up good quality audio. Another thing you might want to think about is your set or your background. What is it that your audience is going to see behind you? Because ultimately that is making up part of the visual image. So really give some thought as to whether you just want to keep it simple and just have a plain background, which means the entire focus will be on you, which isn't a bad thing. That can be really good, and it's a simple setup, but it can be a little bit boring. So if you want to put something in your background as a set to make it look nicer, just give some thought as to the kind of things that you want to put in there. I personally would recommend keeping it branded with your content. So for example, my set is branded with my branding colors. It's also got some things related to cameras and video production, as well as some things that are personal to me, so that you can kind of make that connection with me a little bit. So give some thought to what you might want to put in your background. Now, when it comes to actually filming yourself on camera, you want to make sure that you are looking at your lens and not at your selfie screen. So for example, right now, if I turn my attention to my selfie screen, I can see myself on screen just great. But I'm guessing I've lost that connection with you. So you want to make sure that when you are recording yourself on camera, that you are looking at the lens, not at yourself on the selfie screen, because otherwise you're not going to make that connection with your students. Another thing when it comes to the camera is to make sure you film at eye level or just slightly above, because that's going to make you look the best and also build that connection with your audience or your students. So basically, if you are looking down, so let's say the camera is on a laptop webcam and it's looking up at you, which is often how it is with a laptop webcam. We just put it down on our desk and then we look down at it. The problem is it distorts our face, so we are getting an angle which is not very natural. It also emphasizes any double chin look, and it just doesn't make us look very good. It means our students are looking up our nostrils, which isn't all that great, and it also gives us a sense of superiority over our student in their minds. So they can feel potentially a little bit intimidated by you looking down on them, if in effect. Another problem is obviously to have it too high. So if you have it too high, it does help to, get rid of that neck issue if you've got a double chin look. But it still distorts your face, and it also gives the student, your audience, a more sense of superiority. So it's going to be subliminal. They may not even think about it consciously, but there's going to be a sense of which, if they're looking down on you and you are the authority, you're the one that is sharing the content, it may be that your content is somewhat undermined if they are looking down on you. So you just might want to give that some consideration. So eye level is typically best or just slightly above, so that you do get the benefits of less double chin and some of the benefits of having the camera higher, but without it causing that subliminal messaging and distorting your face too much, and also just giving that kind of peer-to-peer conversational style, like sitting across the table with having coffee or something like that. That's a much more a better way to connect with your audience than having it too high or too low. And my last point in this video is to keep your editing simple. So unless you are creating some kind of dramatic movie or something like that, in which case obviously go to town with the different types of editing and options you have, I would keep your editing very simple, and especially when it comes to transitions, for example, I would just stick to the basic cut, which is what I've used a lot in this video, where you just cut from one clip to the other. You might want to include fade in and fade out on some things, like if you want to fade in a title and then fade it back out, or you might want to use cross dissolves or something like that, but I would limit it to those kind of transitions. The temptation as a beginner editor, you see all these transition options and you might want to include them thinking that's going to make your video look great, but actually it can make your video look very tacky if you use a lot of those extra transitions. So I would just keep it simple, which should be encouraging to you, because it just means that you have to go through your clips, choose which ones you're going to use, keep the cuts nice and on point, and it just simplifies the whole process. It makes the decision making easier, and it makes the amount of time that you might want to edit shorter. So hopefully that is good news for you. Now, if you're creating videos for courses or membership sites, or just putting them on YouTube, then be sure to check out the Course Creators Blueprint for Recording Video Lessons, which includes a checklist, and you can find the link to that in the description below. And also let me know in the comment section below, what kind of videos are you currently producing? Or if you haven't started yet, then what kind of videos are you hoping to produce? And if you like this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications for more videos related to creating online courses using video. Stay creative, and we will talk soon.